give him a great show, okay?
The one and only.
Why do they want an angry gorilla anyway?
You're a silverback. He terrifies humans.
I read about the process of making the film, and it sounds really complex. You said it was like making two movies. So can you tell me about that? What was it like for you to work in a live action CGI hybrid? And especially, I'd like to know if your experience as a theater director helped you in any way with that.
It was very much like making two movies. So in essence, what we did was, the first thing was to record for the initial voices for all the animals that would be animated. So we did quite a lot of work on that first, and then we recorded them in order to give those voices and those chosen performances to my animators. Because without the voice, the animator cannot begin the process. So we did that first during pre-production. Then we went and started shooting, where we did all the live action shooting, some of which was very straightforward. It was just two humans in a room and you would do it as normal. Sometimes it was obviously more complicated, because if any of the humans had interaction with the animals, we had to have various ways, whether it was a puppet, whether it was a stand-in, whether it was a man on calipers, to represent the animal, so that the human in the shot always had something to work with. Then once we'd finished shooting that, we went back and we shot all the scenes with the animals using virtual cameras, which sounds really complicated. It was pretty complicated, but it meant that the process was twice as long as normal, and it had all these various parts to it. And in terms of my theatre background, to be honest, at the end of the day, I'm always trying to be clear and tell the best story that I can. And I work with the best actors that I possibly can and try to help them to produce the best performance that they can give. In that sense, my job as a theatre director or as a movie director remains the same. On a movie set, it's bigger, it's more complex, there are many more people. But fundamentally, my job as a director with an actor remains the same.
The real Ivan did not go out for 27 years. Did you ever think that this story about this group of characters confined, not being able to go outside, desiring to get to be free, would be so timely? And do you think the pandemic will affect or change in any way the experience of the audience, as compared to what you set out to do with it?
Yeah, really good question. Of course, when we set out to work on this movie, which was nearly 3 years ago, the notion of COVID-19 and a worldwide pandemic and lockdown and confinement was not something that any of us knew about. We, of course, were affected quite quickly, because we knew that our release date, which we always wanted it to be in the summertime so that the kids could go and see it during the summer holidays, we knew very quickly that this was going to be affected. And so we made a very quick decision, the studio. Luckily, Disney now have Disney Plus, which even a year ago wouldn't have been possible. So we're all blessed that we had the option of doing that. Now, we thought, do we just hold on to it for maybe a year and we think about doing it next year? But we all decided very quickly that there are parallels. There are parallels with this extraordinary time that we've all lived through. And I hope, and I'm very hopeful, that the feeling of freedom and all the heartwarming issues that come up through the film can actually provide a very good basis for anybody who gets to see it in this moment. And even if they're not conscious of it, in some way you are conscious of what Ivan and his friends are going through compared to what we've been through. Whether you're in the middle of it or whether you've already come out of it or you're going back into it, the whole world is at a slightly different place. What's extraordinary is the whole world is going through this extraordinary thing together. So yes, I hope there will be very good resonances.
terrifying. Who's that?
My sister.
Where's your sister now?
I don't remember.
Memories never leave us. They just get out of reach.